Jack had always been a man of certainty. His life, though not extraordinary, was steady. A good job, a small circle of friends, a quiet apartment in the heart of the city. And then Olivia. She came into his life like a breath of fresh air, gentle yet fierce, with a smile that made the world slow down. She was graceful, kind, and so full of love that Jack fell, hard and fast. Within a year, they were married in the presence of family and friends, wrapped in traditions and prayers, as laughter echoed through the air and love danced in every corner. That night, after the final goodbyes and the doors closed behind them in their new home, Jack saw something in Olivia's eyes. Wait. A silence deeper than fatigue. He cupped her face and asked softly, "Are you okay?" And then she told him. She was not a girl. She was not what the world would label as a woman in the simplest terms. Olivia was third gender, assigned male at birth, but never a man, never a boy in her soul. She had lived her entire life trying to be true to who she was inside. She transitioned slowly, carefully, quietly, never fully accepted by her family, rarely trusted by society. But with Jack, she had dared to believe that love might make her feel complete. The silence that followed her confession was not anger, not rejection. It was a whirlwind inside Jack's chest, colliding emotions crashing into one another. Confusion, sadness, and above all, love. He looked at her, really looked at her. Olivia, who laughed like spring and listened like autumn. Olivia, who loved poetry and plants, who never let a street animal go hungry, who made him feel like the most seen version of himself. "I married you," Jack whispered finally. "Not your gender," she cried. And he held her that night, not knowing what tomorrow would bring, but certain of one thing. He wasn't going anywhere. The days that followed were complicated. Jack kept her truth locked deep inside his heart, because the world outside their apartment didn't have room for that kind of love. They lived in shadows, hiding her identity even from the people who loved them most. His mother called every week to ask when they'd have children. His father spoke often about traditions and expectations. Jack would smile, nod, say soon, and hang up. Every time Olivia went out, she painted strength on her face like armor. Every time Jack saw her do it, a little more of his own strength cracked. He hated hiding her truth, hated the way society could crush someone so full of light. But he also feared what the truth might cost them: rejection, isolation, violence. Sometimes late at night they'd lie awake, facing the ceiling. Olivia would whisper, "Do you regret it?" And Jack would turn to her, hold her hand and say, "Never. I only regret the world we live in." Their love grew in that hidden world. They found peace in stolen mornings, shared cups of tea, the way she'd hum when she cooked, and how he'd leave her little notes under her pillow. They built their own version of a family, a quiet rebellion against the world's rules. But secrets have weight, and sometimes that weight grew too heavy. One day, after a visit to Jack's parents, where Olivia had to play the role of a perfect daughter-in-law, she broke down. "I can't keep hiding who I am," she said, her voice shaking. "Not forever." Jack wrapped his arms around her. "Then we won't. But we'll do it our way. On our time." The decision didn't come overnight. Came in pieces. A slow, deliberate choice to live authentically, even if it meant pain. They began small. Jack started reading more about LGBTQ+ stories. Olivia began documenting her journey in a journal. They found online communities, support, courage. One afternoon, Jack wrote a letter to his mother. Long, emotional, and honest. "Mom, I want to tell you something about Olivia. About who she truly is. I know it may shock you. I know it may take time. But she is the kindest soul I've ever met, and I love her. I need you to try to understand." They didn't send the letter right away. But it was a beginning. Their story isn't finished. There are battles still to fight. Conversations that may break hearts. Walls that must be torn down slowly, piece by painful piece. But Jack and Olivia know one thing. Love is not defined by what the world approves of. Love is built on truth, trust, and the quiet promise to stay, no matter what. And beneath the quiet sky, behind closed doors and in whispered confessions, two hearts continue to beat in rhythm. Together. The letter sat in the drawer for weeks. Jack would pull it out sometimes, reading it over with trembling fingers, wondering if he'd chosen the right words. If any words could prepare a parent to understand something so deeply outside their comfort zone. Olivia never pressured him. But he could see the hope flicker behind her eyes every time he held that envelope. She wanted to be seen. Not as someone pretending, not as someone hiding, but as Olivia. Entirely. Authentically. As his wife. One night, Jack came home from work to find her standing on the balcony, staring at the sky, her journal clutched to her chest. "I mailed it," she said, barely a whisper. Jack froze. "You what?" "The letter. To your mom." Her voice trembled. "I couldn't bear to watch you struggle with it anymore. I know I should have asked, but I needed to be brave. For both of us." His heart raced. 1,000 thoughts rushed through him, but all he could do was walk over and pull her into his arms. "Okay." He breathed against her hair. "Okay. Whatever happens, we face it together." 3 days passed in excruciating silence. No calls. No text. Then on the 4th evening Jack's phone rang. His mother. He looked at Olivia, who was curled on the couch with her knees to her chest. She nodded. "Answer it," she mouthed. He stepped into the hallway and pressed the green button. "Jack." His mother's voice came, soft but unsteady. "I got your letter." There was a storm of emotions swirling on the other end. Grief, disbelief, and then unexpectedly pain. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why did you feel like you had to hide this from us?" Jack's throat tightened. "Because I was scared. Because the world is cruel. Because Olivia has already suffered so much. And I didn't want her to feel that from the people I love. She's a good girl. I see how she takes care of you. How she lights up a room. I never suspected, Jack. And I don't understand it all yet. But I know what love looks like. And you too, your love is real." Tears spilled down Jack's cheeks. "Mom, you have to give me time," she said gently. "I won't lie and say this is easy. But I won't turn away from my son. And I won't hate someone who makes you this happy." Jack collapsed to the floor in quiet sobs. It wasn't full acceptance, not yet. But it was a door cracked open. And that was everything. That night, he held Olivia tighter than he ever had before. She didn't say it was okay. Olivia murmured. But she didn't say it was wrong either. She said our love is real, Jack whispered. And that's a start. Days turned into weeks. The conversations continued. Hard ones. Honest ones. Jack's parents came to visit once. Olivia dressed carefully, hands shaking as she opened the door. Jack's mother hugged her tightly. I don't know the right words, she said. But I'm here. Olivia cried. Jack cried. And the silence that had ruled their lives for so long began to shatter. In time they told others. Jack's closest friend, cousin. Some were supportive. Some were confused. Some fell away. But the ones who stayed, they became the foundation for a new world Olivia and Jack were building together, brick by honest brick. She stopped hiding her voice, her real voice. She started speaking at local support groups, her words lighting fires in people who had nearly given up. Jack would sit in the back, always the first to clap, always the last to leave. They weren't hiding anymore. They were becoming. If you enjoy the story, please like, subscribe and share.